Well. Good afternoon, evening-ish, West Ham fans, rest of the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. So, 100% record for the first team pre-season friendlies. Not so much the under-23s. They lost again against Maidenhead today, but obviously a number of them were playing for the first team. As we romped home 3-1 against Zurich, Grasshoppers Zurich, in the proverbial game of two halves, very much so, as we had two different sides completely for West Ham. One, I'd suggest half of the starting 11 in one, half the starting 11 in the other. A number of the academy players also got minutes as well. But as we always do when we play a game, we try and dissect it. We look at it and come up with some. Firstly, I thought the kit looked all right. They had no sponsor. It looked all right. It looked nice, I thought. I think there's lots we can talk about and lots we can digest. So I picked out 5, but please let me know in the comments below of any points you want to raise specifically about that match. Because the first time, I mean, you could assume, obviously Potter took over in January, but this is pre-season. This is him with the best part of a few weeks with his team. Obviously, we bought Malik Duf, we'll talk about in a minute. A number of youth team, I thought in all, it weren't bad. It was a solid run out. Few goals, few issues, I think, a few sort of cobwebs as well, sort of shaking them off a little bit. But in terms of my first things, I'm going to do 5 things we've learned. The first one, and we've alluded to him, is Malik Duf. Now, he played the second half of the game, playing in. I mean, they sort of played. It was weird. They kept on moving it. They had Kalen, bless him, was playing, almost as a right back, which didn't really suit him. We'll talk about Kalen in a minute. But the second half more, I think, was the proverbial 3 at the back type thing. And I thought he looked really good. I thought he looked really sharp. He looked, you can tell there's a turn of pace there. For anyone who said he was slow, he is not slow at all. He looked sharp. I thought he looked dangerous, got forward a lot. Very much the antithesis. No, not the antithesis. That's the opposite. Very much the left-hand side version of Wan-Bissaka in terms of getting forward, getting crosses. And obviously defensively, we know he's not as strong as he is offensively. But that turn of pace was great for getting him back in there in order to get those, get those Zurich wingers. And actually, was it number 20? Was it the number 23 that looked quite good for Zurich? 27 looked quite good. So that's my first one. Number 2, want to talk about Freddy Potes. Obviously, he is the blueprint of how these guys should be utilising the loan movement. And he's obviously been away for a couple of Wickham, Portsmouth, very much seen as this year being his year to break into the first team. He got some minutes today, got a half. I didn't think he looked out of place at all. Now, appreciate it is a pre-season friendly, but for me, he looks like he just fitted in. And that's encouraging. Obviously, next week, literally this time next week, by a couple of hours, we'll be just about to kick off for the against Man United in New Jersey in the Barclay Premier League Summer Series. Be interested to see the side we put out there. I imagine it won't be as experimental as it was here. So I think he's got a strong future this season, particularly in the first team squad. Looking at the ones below him, obviously Callum Marshall, I thought took his goal very, very well, and looked sharp, really sharp, in fact. However, I thought Kalen looked a bit out of place, but he was out of position. He played well, but for me, him and Lewis, who again made a very good account of himself, but these two guys need to go out and load. The fact is, we could put out 2 sides and still have kids on the bench, and I think Orford's not on ability, but just not even seniority, maybe physically as well. I think he needs a season in the Championship. So does Kalen as well. He looked as a Kalen played almost right back for that first half, which I felt a bit sorry for him. But the fact is, he was there because we've got enough centre backs, and actually we're looking to get more centre backs. So actually, for me, Kalen goes out on loan, Lewis goes out on loan. They come back, they loot, as we said a couple of days ago, apply the Freddy Potes loan blueprint to these guys. And next year, hopefully, I don't think you need 2 years. I think just 1 year in the Championship would be enough for these two. Then we'll reap the rewards of them in the squad. Number 4, sort of a adverse thing about what I've just said about Lewis Orford, but we are desperate for midfield pace. Desperate. There was some nice passing. There was nice triangles. Did some lovely passing triangles. Some nice little bits of interplay, but we look so slow, and it's not a surprise. We've looked slow all of last season, really. Under Lopetegui, under Potter, the midfield is slow. The midfield is really slow, and it's all right if you're playing a pre-season friendly against, FC Grasshoppers Zurich, whatever the full name is. But when you're playing, we've been overrunning midfield all of last year, all of last season, and it's clear that we need to get some legs in that midfield. I think some legs to go alongside. Obviously, the likes of Alvarez didn't play. He had obviously the Gold Cup, and had not prolonged because he hasn't no pre-season yet and no holiday, but he's allowed extra time in order for he starts. In some way that Chelsea, I think Chelsea don't start their pre-season until they have to have at least 3 weeks off or something like that under PFA rules or something like that. So it's clear we need. So it's clear the likes, the one sort of rumor that's gone a bit quiet is Raphael from Club Brugge. And we were linked with him, and very heavily linked to him, and so much so they said we'd agreed terms with him and stuff like that. We need someone like that. I mentioned Richard Rios the other day. Yes, he was due to go to Roma, but there's been some sort of breakdown in negotiations between the two clubs. Someone like that in this midfield transforms it. Because I thought Paqueta looked quite sharp. Fulkrug looked really fit, looked really lean. I think Andy Irving took the goal very, very well. Don't think he's, for me, Premier League level. Is that harsh? I think it might be a bit harsh, actually. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like... I know Blackburn were interested in him in January. But I can see something like that happening for Andy. There's a lot of midfielders there. We have a lot of midfielders. And we have a lot of midfielders that no one wants to buy. Or no one wants to pay the rate that we think they should be. So the likes of Guerrero, for example, he played all right, but he's slow. And you can accommodate one slow player if you've got energy around you. But when you play two or three, a Souček, a JWP, and a Guerrero. Alvarez, to be honest, isn't the most quickest on the park, but he has a little bit more energy about him. But alongside someone like a Richard Rios, I think, or someone in that ilk, that transforms this. It's fair to say, to be honest, compared to last pre-season, it's our first game, and I appreciate it's our first game. It's very much a training ground friendly. The fact is you had 45 minutes each. For a completely different 11. We looked a lot sharper and looked a lot more ready than we did last year's preseason, which was awful. And we'll see, obviously, when we go to America, how sharp we are, particularly compared to our Premier League peers. But that midfield desperately needs pace. And lastly, I think the goalkeeper is our priority. I don't know what. That first 20 minutes, I don't know what Areola was on. He was running out of his box. It was so erratic. And you think if there is a new goalkeeper coach coming in, which he wasn't a bit, and a lead goalkeeper coach and assistant to the goalkeeper coach, you want to be impressing because surely they're going to be looking at other goalkeepers. I don't know what he was doing. The first 20 minutes, it was all over the shop. running out. I don't. His hair looked crazy as well. So his hair reflected his personality on the pitch. Second half, Fodringham, just a training ground goalkeeper, isn't he? We need a new goalkeeper, or we need someone who's going to compete for that number 1 jersey. At the moment, Ariola's got an easy ride. There's no one there. There's no one there who's ready to start and compete with him. Bring in someone like a Hermansen or Suzuki or Noah Atubolu from Freiburg. Someone like that who's just going to compete. Because, I think it's fair to say when we had Fabianski and Areola, and, there was still competition about who was going to be the top dog. So much so that, Fabianski took it on, and Areola went a bit quiet. Then when Areola took it, Fabianski threw his toys out the window. It goes without saying that a goalkeeper is a priority. And Leeds believed that's one of Casper, the friendly goalkeeper coach's first job is to work on that. Now, he has made recommendations, according to reports, that we should go and get Mads Hermansen from Leicester City. He's a great age. And if he comes recommended already, there's already a relationship between the two. So yeah, that's what I think. Those are my 5 things. What do you think about yours? You have to give me 5, but just comments about the game, people that impressed you. I don't think anyone really. Even Cornet played all right out on the left. I thought Guilherme looked a bit soft. He looks a bit, but it's one game, innit? It's one game, and you're judging people. You can look at, patterns of play. I thought Paqueta looked good. Bowen looked sprightly as always. Fulkrug made a nuisance of himself. As I said, I think Callum Marshall took his goal really well, and didn't do himself any harm there at all. But it was clearly that I think the second half we looked better in midfield. First half we looked better defensively. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I'm off. Hope you had a lovely rest of Saturday. We might pop on tomorrow. We might say, there's loads of transfer rumours. I think that we'll see the Kyle Walker-Peters signing maybe Monday. Club doesn't usually work on a Friday, does it? Anyway, on Sunday, rather. But anyway, take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and see you soon. Much love.